What's good, Bandidos? Today we're chilling out with a Serena build for the first Descendant that's perfect for all you unsweaty players. If you're done stressing out over every little thing but still want to roll through the game like a pro, then this video is going to be for you, because we're talking a setup that's easy, fun, still optimized to get you those big wins. No sweat required. So no crazy grind, no complicated stuff, just simple gear, straightforward skills, and a vibe that lets you dominate without trying too hard. You'll see what I mean in a sec, and trust me, it's gonna hit just right. So if you're down to check out how to make Serena unstoppable with zero stress, hang out with me. Oh, and if you're feeling this already, tap that like button. It helps a ton. Let's do this.
Wait, did we just become best friends? So nice to meet you. I think you're cool.
So hey, we're gonna jump into the Serena build straight away in just a quick second. But before we do, I just want to lay some groundwork. You probably noticed that I've been quiet since the release of Season 2, Episode 2. Yeah, I dropped a video here and there, but I've kind of just been absorbing all of the new stuff that the devs gave us. While I've been sitting here on the sidelines, I've been noticing the discourse between what seems to be a divide in the community. We have on one side, I'm going to call the unsweaty players, or the more casuals, and then on the other side, we have the sweaty players. But with this segment of the community, I'm noticing a lot more emphasis on the leaderboard. Things like a minute and a half, 2 minute Void Purge level 30 clears. Now, if you're trying to go for speed runs and break records, first of all, you're on the wrong fucking channel. That's not what we do here. So you're not going to see any of that in this build video. Instead, you're going to see a fully optimized build for the average player to get really efficient clear times. Maybe not world records, but 3 to 5 minute level 30 purges doing it solo? Sure. Look, I get it. You want to dominate, but you don't want to burn out doing it. And you see these build videos with perfect gear and squads, and that's cool, but most of us don't have the time or setup for that. And I'm a full-time gamer. I'm just like you and often find myself in public lobbies. And that's why I make optimal builds for fast and efficient clears for players like us, but no need for pro skills or a mastered crew. We care about winning, but not so much it feels like work, just so I could shave a couple of seconds off on a leaderboard. Want to crush it without the stress? Let's dive in. To respect your time, I'm just going to focus on what matters when it comes to her kit, because there's a lot to it. For her number 4, which is called Redemption, it's really about Redemption's judgment. So you're going to get this benefit when you activate it in the air. This is going to give you additional AoE damage from your firearm. What's interesting about it is that it scales off of your max HP, not your regular MP. So when you take damage, it's not going to decrease. It's off of your max HP. And then the maximum range is up to 200%. So once you activate it, it's going to run a duration, and then there's a cooldown. So the idea here is to get your cooldown and your duration as close together as possible. This shows a 20-second duration with a 33.7-second cooldown, but in reality, that cooldown is a lot shorter. 20% shorter because of how I've configured the build, but it's not going to reflect in the stats here. The other one that matters, her number 3, which is called Soar. So this has stacks. You're going to use this all the time, and you're using it to dash, to traverse the area really quickly. Most importantly, you're using it to automatically reload your current weapon, and that is absolutely amazing. Her number 2 is what gives her the ability to fly. This can be really challenging depending on what content you're covering. Out there in Sigma sector, it's actually pretty good. In content like the Purge, it's really confined and you're bumping into things all the time. It's kind of annoying. I don't prefer it. Again, this is an unsweaty build video, so we're gonna avoid this one. But number 1, Sacred Flame, is important. You don't have to use it all the time, but periodically I recommend when you step up to some enemies to quickly find a second to hit them with this, because it's going to give you round recovery from its ability called Repentance. So this is the setup that I have for her. For the most part, it's built on skill cooldown, skill duration, and HP. So let's start there. So we have increased HP, so that's her base. And then we have overwhelming HP, which is going to strip her shields down and give her more max HP by almost 20%. That allows me to run 1 increased shield mod, and it says shields at 151, but that shield is going to be converted to max HP. That's what overwhelming HP does. Nimble Fingers is skill cooldown. The other skill cooldown is MP conversion. It's going to cost you max MP by 15%, but we're okay because we're not flying a lot. We don't have to worry about that. Shot focus is important. That's going to give you more firearm damage. We're not using any skill power, so we don't care about the hit. And then we want duration. So the duration is going to allow her number 4 to last longer. So we got max duration at 40% at a cost of skill power, and then skill extension, which giving us another 36%. And then I'm running running multi-talented, so this is what gets our skill cooldown to meet our skill duration for our number 4. When you use a dimension skill, you're going to decrease your cooldowns by 20% for 5 seconds. What's really neat are the skills that you're leaning on are both dimensions. You're going to be using her number 3 a lot. So if we flip over to skill cooldowns here, we have basically a 70% cooldown. You're going to have that 20% cooldown kicking in on that all the time. Let's quickly jump over to the inversion reinforcement. This is a general setup, so I have it configured for the purge. Then you have chill focus for the purge, and I'm using the malevolent for the most part, so this is giving us additional cogs. We get more range from quantum domain and more skill power, which we're not using. For her reactor, it doesn't really matter what type of reactor you use, but max out skill duration and cooldown for this build. I do recommend going as high as armor as possible, but I didn't stress out about it. I had 484 on this one instead of the 646 possible. For me, the skill duration was just really important so that I didn't have to constantly activate my number 4 and expose myself. So that helps. And then I'm using the 2-piece ascending because it's got a really nice max HP value, as well as it's giving me a skill cost reduction, which is a little helpful. And you can push that up a little bit higher if you wanted to. This is how I've configured my arcade tuning. So this is overall leaning into her weapon damage. And then I went down this route so that we can pick up some more affinity damage. That's going to definitely help inside the purge, which is the more difficult content you're going to engage with. And then all of this HP is benefiting our weapon, some HP recovery modifier, not the worst thing to have, some toxic resistance, which is kind of a waste. And then we're after this max 55% HP here, and you go up there. And then also you can come down here and pick up a little bit more max shield. Again, that's going to be converted into HP because of our mod setup. I only have one setup for her. I'm not taking her into the Tormentor just because I don't really need any cores, so I really don't see the point. But I'll eventually go in there to restock before we get the new content for Blair. So the Malevolent. So we're building into Chill because that's the more difficult content right now. No, I'm not going to have multiple Malevolents. Notice this weapon isn't peaked out. It still needs 2 more Malevolents smashed into it. And in order to do that, I have to grind to the top of the battle pass. Yeah, I just haven't done that yet. And what's crazy is I play every day. So those of you that have gotten there, wow. It comes with an inherent toxic attack, so it sucks to waste that, but not running Chill inside the purge sucks. So I got 2 chill attacks and 1 firearm attack, and then 2 fire rates. I did really enjoy running rounds per magazine in that core slot that has chill up there. If you're running in group a lot, that could go a long ways. But if you're running level 30 purge solo a lot, then chill is a little bit better, but you'll just be reloading a lot more. Down below, you're gonna want rounds per magazine, chill, firearm attack, and weak point damage. And then let's look at the mods here. So everything's built into chill, no surprises, chill enhancement, chill circulation, snowflake conductor. And then we have our usual suspects, action reaction, rifling, reinforcement, and fire rate up. That's on every build, right? Then we have expand weapon charge, which gives us a bigger magazine, and then charge amplification, which is more firearm attack at the cost of crits. There's no crits on this build whatsoever. The one that's probably a little bit of a surprise for you is the weak point damage. This was a really good option. You could also go weapon tuning here, which would give you more magazine size, which I did enjoy and I did like. But when I put on the weak point damage one, man, I felt that time to kill on headshots go down a lot. And if you're running that level 30 purge solo, that matters. Basically, the strategy in the purge using this weapon is in many of the rooms, there is only one elite. If you focus on that one elite, everybody else is going to die. If you step up to him, focus on his head, inflict frostbite so he's frozen, you can continue to focus on his head and get a really fast time to kill. I'm on the Xbox, so I don't have crazy laser pointer PC aim, and this isn't difficult or ultra sweaty to accomplish. With this build, I'm getting between 4 and 5 minute clears on level 30 purge solo. But once I get the Malevolent completely leveled up by finishing my battle pass, then I'm pretty sure this will drop below 4 minutes because that is a lot of damage on the table. Let's look at its special ability. The stats on this thing sucks. Crit sucks, multi-hit sucks, but the weak point damage is pretty good. And then we have unique ability, shoots cogs that travel around and bounce off enemies. The more levels you have here, then the more bounces you're gonna get. And so we're missing all of those bounces, and that's gonna change the impact of this build. But I'm happy with where it's at, knowing that it's just gonna get better. The damage will be firearm damage by 15%. So we're gonna do this next part real fast, but let's look at the group build. You're gonna wanna run him. Him is going to increase the movement speed of your allies, but it also increases your movement speed. And when you increase your group's movement speed, that'll be considered a buff, and that allows us to run Passionate Sponsor, which is very powerful. Any Descendant that can run Passionate Sponsor, you kind of want to do it if they're a shooter. shooter. That's going to increase your firearm damage by 75%. Hello, really easy to do. You're always going to have this. So what we've done here is decrease our emphasis on HP because we have team contributing to damage. In other words, there's a little more quality of life in this build. Why? Because I want my share of kills. Sometimes what happens is that your allies can beat you to the punch a lot, and because you don't have these quality of life things, by the time you get there with all your strong weapon damage, everybody's dead because of descendants like Inez or other Serenas that are dropping nukes left and right, and they're faster than you. This build allows you to keep up with the group, buff the group with amazing weapon damage. So don't get me wrong, your weapon damage is absolute here. We have the same 2 HP mods here. So we got increased HP amplification. We still have our cooldowns with nimble fingers and MP conversion. This one is built to fly more for most dungeons, including the Sigma sector is where I use this one. We have maximized conservation here, skill duration mods that we saw earlier, and I added skill expansion to give us an additional 92% range. That's because the AoE coming from Redemption's Judgment can spread wider, which is really helpful in the open lands of Sigma sector. She performs like a dream. So as a backup weapon, I'll just quickly splash my smithereens, but this one's been out for a while, so hopefully you don't need a full walkthrough here. Take a screenshot if you can. This is the setup. It's set up for chill. This is what I use to take out the level 30 purge boss. But when I'm playing in group, you know what weapon I use more is the Ancient Knight. I really like the Ancient Knight. So it's not perfected or anything like that, but it's good to go. This one I do not use inside the purge because I have it built for fire and you want it to be chill in there, so you'd be missing out on a lot of damage, but great for the Sigma sector or just about anything else. I have rounds per magazine. I think that's important for quality of life. 2 firearm attacks, a fire attack, and then 1 fire rate. I didn't go overboard on the fire rate because I am in the air when I use this. This weapon is all about shooting in the air, so it's basically a Serena only weapon. For the other stats, I have rounds per magazine, recoil, firearm attack, and then fire attack. If you put too much RPM, then you're going to be missing a lot of shots in the air and then having to reload a lot, just a waste, and you'd be eating a lot of your MP is what that means. So let's look at the details of this weapon before we look at the mods. So it got decent multi-hit damage. The crits are really low, so we're not going to be building into that. So unique ability. So when you reload midair, this is going to give you more effective range, and you're going to get HP recovery chance on hit, which is amazing. And notice this one's fully leveled up. Really easy to farm this one out because it's not tied to the battle pass. This is tied to the Sigma sector. So you're going to get a 2% health recovery amount, and then you get atonement. You're going to get atonement when multi-hit triggers, and this is going to give you max stacks of 10 with a 7.7% damage increase per stack. That's crazy strong. Now, just like I said, we're going to go back to her skill. So in group, you're going to be using Ascension now when you're in the Sigma sector. First of all, you move around really fast with Ascension. By holding down your number 3 skill, you can fly directionally instead of just up and get ahead of a lot of your allies. And when we're up in the air, we're using a general rounds weapon. That's going to give us an additional 50% multi-hit chance increase and multi-hit damage increase. Super cool. And then of course, we're still going to get the exploding effects. And when she's in the air, she's going to get an air attack increase of 45%, less recoil, damage reduction, etc. So you can have damage reduction while you're healing yourself with an increased multi-chance rate. And you can maintain that as long as you stay in the air. Pretty cool, right? So if we look at the stats of this weapon, multi-chance is 30% and the damage is 0.918. That's before the buff from her skill when she's in the air and before the buff of the weapon. So this is going to go up nicely. Okay, now to the mods. I'm going to go really fast so this video doesn't get super long, but everything is pretty basic here. We have our usual suspects, the core weapon mods. From there, we're building into element, which is going to be fire, and finally we're able to build into multi-shot because that's what this weapon does. What it doesn't do is crits, so avoid that. The one mod I want to point out here is the multi-circulation one. This one is based on me playing in group. If you're not going to be doing that, you might want to run something else here. A bigger mag isn't a bad idea, and firing Fiesta is a great alternative. I really enjoy this weapon. If you haven't used it, it's a lot of fun. It feels good to shoot. All right, let me know what you guys think of Serena in this build. Hopefully you're enjoying her. Have fun. Catch you on the next one. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'm Tuxedo Bandido. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss out on the good stuff I have coming for you. And if you like content like this, be sure to check out the video I have recommended for you right here. If you have anything you would like me to cover, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And thank you to all the channel members and donors who make things possible. Tux Nation wouldn't be the same without you.
When you buy or download anything for the first Descendant, be sure to use Tux's creator code to support the channel. Easy peasy.
Wait, did we just become best friends?